So get this, podcast listeners, the school board speech police. That's right. We're going to do a segment on the school board speech police. So in the Daily Wire, a county in Virginia changes its rules so that podcaster Matt Walsh can't speak at the school board meeting. And Walsh finds a workaround. So a county in Virginia changed their rules at the last minute in an effort to block Daily Wire host Matt Walsh from speaking at an upcoming school board meeting. Walsh, however, found a workaround by leasing a property in the area. So he rented like an apartment. Walsh, who has tremendous support from parents, went viral last month when he spoke out against radical gender initiatives at a school board meeting in Loudoun County. Walsh posted earlier this month that the district has imposed a radical trans policy allowing males access to girls' restrooms and teams, adding that teachers are required to use preferred pronouns. Teachers are required to use preferred pronouns in public school of children, apparently attempting to avoid such a public spectacle of pushback. The county, Loudoun County, introduced some changes for public participation in the September 28th, 2021 meeting of the Loudoun County School Board. A portion of the press release states, those wishing to speak to the school board must provide proof that they meet these criteria. The following means of identification will be accepted. A valid Virginia driver's license indicating Loudoun County residency, in other words, voter ID. A utility bill, 2021, with a resident's name and a Loudoun County address. A mortgage or rental lease agreement displaying the resident's name and current street address of residency or business. A current employee ID or student ID. So what Matt Walsh did, he does not live in the state of Virginia, the podcast listener, he entered into a lease agreement with someone who has an apartment and he's renting it. And so he has a valid rental lease agreement that he provided to the Loudoun School Board, and they can't stop him now from speaking. Pretty smart. And so it's not just that the speech police in Loudoun County, Virginia are trying to shut down parents and other interested people from speaking up about the crazy policy changes and the crazy policy decisions that are happening in many public schools, such as CRT, for example. But there's more. There's also this movement in many public schools to teach pedophilia and to try to normalize it. Let's put it that way. Maybe not teach it, but to normalize it through assigning certain books that not only normalize pedophilia, but also kind of celebrate it. So in Fairfax County schools, that's also a very large county in Virginia that we've spoken about before. Loudoun County is as well. I mean, what's happening in Virginia? Stacy Langdon, a parent, speaks at a school board meeting about a number of books that are available to the students in their library and elsewhere, readily available, very easy to find. Remember, libraries and schools are very small. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of books in these libraries. And so as a result of having limited space, the librarians in the schools and teachers in the schools, not all teachers, not all librarians, but certainly some, have made certain books available to children. And here is a parent talking about what some of those books are about. Here's the clip.
After seeing a September 9th school board meeting in Texas on pornography in the schools, I decided to check the titles at my child's school, Fairfax High School. The books were available, and we checked them out. Both of these books include pedophilia, sex between men and boys. Both books describe different acts. One book describes a 4th grade boy performing oral sex on an adult male. The other book has detailed illustrations of a man having sex with a boy. The illustrations include fellatio, sex toys, masturbation, and violent nudity. pedophilia here. From the author, Maya Kobabe, quote, "I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I am going to give you the blowjob of your life, and then I want you inside me," end quote. From the author, Jonathan Evison, what if I told you I touched another guy's dick? What if I told you I sucked it? I was 10 years old, but it's true. I sucked Doug Goebel's dick, the real estate guy, and he sucked mine too. This is not an oversight at Fairfax High School.
Sorry. May I please make a point of, there are children in the audience here.
Do not interrupt my time. Do not interrupt my time.
So that's the Fairfax School Board saying there are children in the audience, but it's like, yeah, but you're making the books available to the children in the public school system, which has nothing to do with education. Nothing. In fact, it has to do with normalizing and celebrating pedophilia. And there's the other thing too, which is the school board is like, well, free speech, but you can't talk about this, not in front of the rest of us. We don't want to hear this, but it's okay if kids read it. Incredible. This is happening across America. And while Republicans and conservatives, and by the way, this includes regular, everyday families that were never politically active before in their lives, while they were asleep at the wheel, the left has made a concerted effort to take over school boards nationwide. And this is the kind of crazy stuff that they're putting into place. Case in point, in my own school board in Calvert County, Maryland, the school board shut down public comment during the entire pandemic. Okay? In other words, the school board continued to meet via Zoom, but they wouldn't allow parents to testify via Zoom because of COVID. You might get COVID when you testify remotely with Zoom. And so then, the beginning of this year, the same school board, my school board, decided, well, we're going to start meeting in person again, but we're going to limit comment to only 10 parents. Not 10 parents at a time, and then the other 10 parents have to wait outside. No, 10 parents, period, because they don't want to hear what the parents have to say, even though the parents are the ones not only that pay the taxes, but children belong to the parents. This is happening across the country. School boards are on autopilot. They don't think they are answerable to anyone. And let me tell you something, they're going to be answerable. Well, here in Calvert County, Maryland, a commissioner said, hey, look, a county commissioner, which is the elected body that runs the county, there are 5 of them, all 5 commissioners went in front of the school board. They said, hey, among other things, you need to allow parents to come here and speak, and it needs to be unfettered. And you need to lift that limit of 10 parents, because many times we've had parents come here and you haven't allowed them to speak. And so the school board president responded. We have that clip, and listen to her response. Here it is.
I will thank the commissioners for bringing that issue up. And I will say that as president of the board, we will continue to discuss our maximum that we have placed on public comment. We do hear the concerns from the commissioners about our limit, but we have followed in suit on what the State Board of Education does in limiting their public comment, because our meeting is a business meeting, and so we do not, want to belabor our business portion of our meeting because there are 300, 400, or 60 to 100 commenters being given 3 minutes apiece, so that it does not put us here late, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yes. So the meeting is a business meeting only at the school board. And, you parents, you're very pesky. And we don't want to be here until 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning listening to you speak, because what we have to do in our business meeting is far more important than what you have to say and commenting, even though the whole purpose of the school board is to be the conduit of parents in the way it administers policy to the public school system. But they don't want to listen to the parents. You got to love that. Moreover, podcast listeners, the same individual who's Black also wants to implement CRT in Calvert County Public Schools. And listen to me about this. This is happening across America, including my own county. So listen to this, podcast listeners. This individual happens to be Black. She was elected to the school board by what? Republicans. It is a Republican county. So a Republican county elected a Democrat who is black. The Democrat gets elected telling people the good things that she's going to do. She gets there, and the first thing she does is to try to implement critical race theory. And she wants to continuously shut down public schools because of COVID and doesn't want to implement simple testing policies to try to find different ways to keep the schools open. And last but not least, while all that was happening, and while you are a white privileged individual, because she really does believe that, even though she was elected by the primarily white Republican county, she sends her child to an elite private school. So let's summarize. She's black. She was elected by Republicans, but the Republicans are engaging in white privilege, I guess, because they elected her. And then she doesn't want to hear what you have to say on the school board, but at the same time wants schools to be shut down because she's doing the bidding of the teachers union and sends her child to an elite private school. This is classic Democrat politics. And this is why we, the people, need to speak up. We need to tell these school boards, I'm sorry, you have to listen to us. We are the ones who pay the bill.